what you see here is the QBeats news widget that we've set up for purposes of this beta. It's going to look a lot like this, I think, when we have it installed in the stadium. Except I think by then we will have added some additional features beyond the ones that I'm going to talk about today. But you all should have a link to this. If you don't, or if you're lacking anything else that I talk about today, definitely you have my email. I've harassed everybody a couple times to invite you to this meeting. So you have my email. Please let me know if you get stuck anywhere, or if you don't have what you need to get on the platform and start playing around with it. But the first time you follow our link, it will take you here to this web page. And definitely let me know if you can't see it. But this is our basic headline scroll here. The first time you join, you're going to need to log in. We've provided you with some credentials to do that. So actually, I'm already going too fast. I'm clicking over here in the upper right-hand side and sign in to get started. It opens another tab. Amazing how fat your fingers get when you have an audience watching you type, but I'll try to get logged in here. So this is your My QBeats page. This is separate from the widget where you're going to consume news, but it's where all of your account information is going to be kept. And we'll dive into it a little bit more, but I just want to show you now that I've toggled back to the distribution widget. You can see up here I'm signed in. It's remembered a few of the channels I've created, and I'll show you how to create those in a minute. It shows me my account balance, and so I have a little over $10 in credits in my account right now. If you're in the widget and you're signed on, but you need to check your account, you can click here on your balance over here in the upper right to go back to the My QBeats area where you can add credits, etc. Now, there's 2 cohorts of beta testers so far. In one example, we've pre-funded their accounts with some credits. I think more recently, we thought it made sense to send you promo codes because we can send you additional promo codes, so we wanted everybody to get familiar with how to use them. And so to redeem those promo codes and create credits in your account for buying stuff, you go to your My QBeats. You want to go to your wallet. It's up here. And again, if you choose to buy credits, and you're welcome to do that, but I think we're glad to float you for this beta period. But if you want to add credits using your credit card, this is where you do it. You can toggle in that information. But here's a button that says redeem credits, and so the promo codes that we sent you already, and if you need more, just let us know. This is where you want to go to cash them in. So you click promo codes. I'm going to use one that I know of. And remember, my account balance previously was $10.04. Whoops. Oh, I can't use that one twice. That's a little security measure we have, so I'm going to try a different one. Okay, so I just added $10 more to my account. So pretty easy. We try to make it pretty easy for you to get started on the platform. So now I can show you a little bit about how to navigate around. You'll start out. You should have 3 basic tabs. I've added some more in my travels, but for starters, you'll have 3 tabs. You'll have an analysis tab. So this is where we've taken content from our 50+ content providers and pulled from that people who are providing more analysis, research, trade ideas. We've got about, I guess the number is about 6,000 to 8,000 stories coming through our system every day. So we thought it was important to provide just a very basic filter that pulled out maybe the higher value information, or at least the the more actionable information. So that's your analysis tab. If you click live, it's basically the fire hose with all of our content coming in. Hopefully your web connection is a little faster than mine. I think I'm suffering. We may be doing some work here at QBeats that's taxing our connection. But the live is all of the content that's coming through. So it moves very quickly. You're going to see content for all different markets here. You'll even see some sports news. We started adding quite a bit of sports, and particularly fantasy sports stuff. So there's some right there popping in. And then you have a bookmarks tab. So when you've accessed a story, and I'm going to show you how to access the story in a minute, but when you've accessed a story, you can save it for later here in your bookmarks. It's also the case that here in your My QBeats area, you're going to have a library where all of your content is kept, so that you know, we're on a number of platforms. If you find yourself in some other environment on the QBeats system, your My QBeats is kind of your central area for accessing your stuff, and it will be kept in your library here. But you can also bookmark it in the widget. And now I'm going to show you a little bit about how to filter down this fire hose of content. I'm going to start in the analysis tab, I think. So we've created some filters, and you can basically parse our content by market. So you can see up here I've created one that's commodities and currencies. If you want to follow stocks, if you start typing equities, it's going to prompt you to call them stocks. We're in kind of a retail environment, so we've made an equivalent of stocks here. So if you just want to see stock information, you would do that here. You can search more granularly by tickers. So for example, if I want to see what's going on with Tesla, I can type the ticker in. I can type the company name as well. Either way, you're going to find these prompts to narrow the filter down. So here's the latest content on Tesla. Now we can talk about how to buy a story. If I see a headline that's interesting to me, I can click here. It opens a preview of the story. Some of our publishers are a little cagey in their previews, particularly Fly on the Wall, Midnight Trader. They tend to do stories that are very short and you know, more news-oriented than analysis, and so they don't want to just give away for free the main gist of their story always. So sometimes you get a summary here that is more generic. It says, you know, you'll have a headline up here that says, you know, what the company that they're writing about is, and then the summary might say, you know, latest news from the derivatives markets, and that's just because their story is very short. It's obviously about the company that's mentioned in the headline, and it's about what's going on in the volatility realm with respect to that company, but they're a little cagey. These guys at T3 Live are more forthcoming because they're doing longer analysis piece. So this is a morning call. It comes out every morning. It's actually a really great kind of curtain opener on your trading day. It's a video. They tell you here what stocks they're going to talk about and what ETFs and industries. Now, there are two ways to unlock content on our platform. You'll always have the option of paying cash to view this story ad-free. We've just added a second way, which is a sponsored view. And so what that means is if we have an advertiser who is willing to pay 88 cents or more to get in front of you, you'll have an option here to view maybe a 10-second, 15-second B-roll advertisement, and the story will open after you watch it. Right now, we don't have any 90-cent ads in the inventory, so I'm going to pay cash for this. So again, up here is my balance. I've got 20 bucks. I've got more than enough to unlock this 90-cent story. Click here. confirm the purchase. I think be on the lookout. We're going to turn this off at some point and allow you to say, you know what, I don't want to get the second confirmation message every time I open a story. I get it every time I click the price that's going to debit my account. So you might be able to turn this off in a couple weeks, but for now you have to confirm it. This is actually video content. And so this is a pretty good curtain opener on the market, actually. It's got a lot of charts. Loading a little slowly, apologies. But it's a good kind of fundamental and technical oriented curtain opener on the market. Let's look at some more content. So we've got a lot of commodity and currency news in here. You can see here it's filtering. It's telling you that this is more of an analysis story. This is more news, the summary of the market. We can look at maybe a trade idea. Actually, I'm going to search by publisher because then I can narrow it down. So up here again, you can search by sectors and topics like commodities and currencies. You can search for tickers. You can also, if there's a particular publisher you like to follow, you can pull that out as well. So we're going to look at Informa Global Markets. So these guys send us about 200 stories per day, mostly Forex, a little bit of energy commentary as well. Technically oriented, they do some pretty obscure currency pairs as well as the majors. And so again, if I want to view the content, click the headline. So here's a technically oriented piece on the euro versus sterling. Everybody with me so far? Are there any questions that come to mind right away?
No, so far so good. I mean, I think that most of the managers we work with are, at least at this point, long-short equity driven, not as much on the currency or futures, but that will probably change.
Sure.
And then where I think it'll be interesting too is getting to the parts where you can, enter the tickers in and kind of create a channel and things like that. So it's a quick reference to what they may be looking at, what they're owning or really concerned about.
Sounds good. We have some good options content, both from T3 Live. Doug Roberts at T3 Live covers equity options, and then Dragonfly Capital also provides a lot of equity option setups that you may find interesting, or at least might challenge your thinking if you have a contrarian view. I think the last thing that I really need to show everybody in terms of navigation, and then we're going to move on to a quick kind of rundown of our publishers, is how to build these channels. So you see up at the top of my page, I've saved several. I've got commodities and currencies. I have a publisher-oriented one. We have the fly on the wall. But then up here, if you want to add more, you can pick a publisher. You can pick a topic like stocks, right? So make it easy. Let's say hot stock. You have to give it a name. I almost forgot to do that. That's why it wasn't letting me save it. Actually, it's live. It's still filtering by publisher. So I encourage everybody to play around with that. You can set up a list of multiple tickers that you follow and call that a channel of, my portfolio or stocks I follow. You can do it by topic, derivatives. You can do it by publisher. But we try to make it pretty easy. I think one of the things you might be on the lookout for in the future is, well, so actually, we have some basic sharing capability right now in the product. So if you want to email a story to somebody, a story that you've purchased, you can do that.
Do they have to pay for it, or how does that work, Greg? If you buy it, can you share it, or do they have to buy it too?
So right now it's a basic share, and you're sending them a link. One of the features. I'm sorry. No, it's actually, these guys are moving very quickly. So you can buy a story from somebody and email it to them as a gift. So you click the little gift sign up here if you'd like to do that. Otherwise, if you just share a story the traditional way with a link, they need to get on the system and log in as well and buy it, and their price will be the current market price. So if you gift it to them, you bought it for them at the current price. But if you send them a link, they'll have to buy it themselves. We're going to be developing even more features that might allow you to share it within your own organization at a discount. We would have to obviously go to our publishers and get them to buy into that program, but we're focused on very focused on the sharing piece, and so that's going to be something to look out for in the future as well.
That's also one interesting thing to note is that you can touch on is the time value. That sometimes, as a story comes out, it may be $1, and then as the next day or two goes on, sometimes the values can go down.
Yeah, absolutely. I should have mentioned that up front, because that's at least when we go to publishers, that's the thing that gets them very interested. Thank you, Tim. Our pricing is dynamic. So you see prices over here on the right. You see arrows going up and down, indicating whether the price is which direction the price is moving, going down over time. So some people have compared QBeats to iTunes for financial news, and we don't argue with that too much. Latest song on iTunes from Coldplay or something like that, it's probably the song's probably going to be worth about the same a week from now or a month from now as it is today. But obviously, financial news and even research has a time value. So our pricing is dynamic. You'll see prices change over time, and generally they go down. Some of you might notice at some point the prices stop moving. That's because in some cases our publishers have put a floor on their prices. They said, the dynamic pricing makes a lot of sense. A lot of our publishers are only the only place where you can get their stuff on an a la carte pay-per-view basis. Otherwise, they have high-price subscriptions. And so in some cases, they've said, we don't ever want the prices to go below 5 cents or 10 cents. So if you're looking at the pricing and you see some that aren't moving, it's probably the case that they've hit their floor price. And they may stay at that floor price until like a week from now or something, when they might drop to an even lower archive price because the story's completely lost its news value. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on the navigation piece. I did want to wrap up by kind of reviewing our publishers and what you might be on the lookout for. And I'll be mindful that that most of you are probably equity oriented. And definitely, please hang on to my email. And if there are publishers whose stuff you follow, and maybe when you were at a bank on a prop desk and the bank was providing you with a subscription to their stuff every week, and you love to read it, but you don't want to subscribe to it now, you're welcome to shoot me a note and say, you know what, it'd be really great if you had give me credit or a particular publication on there. But here's what we have today. We've got about 55 publishers. Our initial focus was Forex and commodities and macro. So we've got a lot of publishers there, and mindful that you guys don't all trade that, but a lot of futures-oriented content from specialty publications. The guy who writes just about cotton. Hightower Report gives us about 20 curtain openers on the market every morning. They actually do like an E-mini kind of broad equity market-oriented one that might be interesting to you, but they do it just about every major traded commodity future as well. Got a lot of energy content. The Short Report is a very comprehensive one that comes out every morning. It covers North American crude, natural gas, all the distillates, and alternative energy. And then we have a lot of weather stuff, and the weather stuff obviously is probably of most interest to energy and ag traders, but some of them sometimes write about equity. So one time I did a search on the company that manufactures North Face, and the energy, this guy's weather report came up. He's a single guy, Chris Orr Weather. It popped up in the feed, and I thought that our filter was broken and it wasn't working properly, but I actually purchased the story, and he was writing about a very long-term outlook on the winter and what that meant for the stock of the North Face company. So lots of stuff. We've added a lot more equities and credit-oriented publishers, though, I would say, in the last year after we started commodities and Forex. So we've got about 2,000 equity stuff coming in per day. These are our publishers. Many of them you probably have heard of. Some of them you might not have. Again, T3 Live does great commentary on the markets, and they have an options strategist named Doug Roberts. Benzinga Pro, Fly on the Wall, MT Newswires, these are the Midnight Trader guys. We get their stuff very fast, so I think you might on the web sometimes find Benzinga content just floating out there for free, but if you get it on QB, so you pay 6 cents for it, you're going to get it quicker. They hold their stuff back before they release it free on the internet. So our guys like to Fly on the Wall and Benzinga Midnight Traders, we try to be super fast because we know latency is very important. Social Market Analytics, they do about 4 reports a day on what stocks are hot on Twitter and other areas. So that might be of interest. This is an example of a Midnight Trader story. You saw T3 Live's morning report earlier. And then in Forex and macro, we have about 500 items now per day. These are the publishers that focus on that area. RareView Macro actually does a lot of kind of macro-oriented equity index stuff too, so you might want to be on the lookout for that. And then, you know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So we have quite a bit of sports news, particularly fantasy sports, if you're into that. This is kind of our second vertical that we're getting into outside of finance. So that's it, really. I'm glad to take any questions anybody has. Curious if you've played around already on the platform, what your experience has been. I hope I haven't muted everybody. I don't think I have.
No, I think we're here. What I think will be helpful is when people can actually get their portfolios loaded up and they're by ticker, and have one spot to be able to quickly go in and see what's really pertinent to them. I mean, in some ways, what it's trying to do is, for people that used to have Bloomberg, maybe you had screens and sorts and different things, but this gives you almost a pay-per-view option to get access to a lot of research and stories that you may or may not see on a daily basis, and they can be kind of put in an easy-to-view way. I think it should add value.
Exactly, and that's something we're working on right now. Is you can do that by hand right now. If there are stocks you like to follow, you can create one of those channels that we talked about, and start following them. But we have an integration with TradeStation, which is kind of a retail or high net worth, small institution oriented execution platform, and there we've created the ability to track. So if somebody's looking at a price for a particular stock, they can turn on a feature that allows the news scroll to track what they're doing there. So we definitely plan to do something similar with BattleFin with respect to the stocks that each person follows.
Okay. Any other questions out there before we sign off?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, please give us any feedback, and if there are publishers whose content you want to see on the platform, please let me know. And thanks everybody for joining. And if you need more credit,